What's up, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? Here we are. Got a fun one today. I'm gonna check out a couple of VODs with Veto, and then I want to kind of go over some of my thoughts on how to play the agent. Because so far, what I've seen has not been particularly good, and so I kind of want to go through the process that I would probably do if I was making a comp with the agent or trying to integrate a new agent into my existing strat books and stuff like that. And yeah, since I don't have a team, I feel like whatever, I can just give away this information. And if people use it, cool. I care more about my ideas getting out there than getting credit for them and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and talk about Veto a little bit. You know what? I was gonna go get a snack, but my cousins just brought me back some cookies from Australia, so we're gonna have some Tim Tams for breakfast, as one does when you're an adult and trying to eat healthy and going to the gym, which I did this morning already. But yeah, let's talk about Veto. What's up, Sabason? How are you? It is me, Prathu. How are you? Kleptomaniac. What's going on? So, going off of Project Blender, I know that there was some Veto played in Game Changers Champions, and actually, who was it? G2? No, Team Liquid Brazil had some good stuff on Bind. But I wanted to. What time is it there? It's like 9 a.m. I wanted to look at Blender just because I feel like these teams have had a little bit more time to work with the agent, and obviously some of them are a bit higher level than the Game Changers teams. So I think it's maybe worth looking at them. Veto 5% pick rate across Blender so far, so quite low. Actually, bottom 5 agent in the game pick rate wise, but you know, it's kind of to be expected, right? He's new, and I think partially due to a lot of people kind of writing him off already, and also part of it is just because people don't really understand the agent very well. So a few teams experimenting with him, but nobody really doing a lot good that I've seen so far. So I just wanted to quickly look at some of the games. Obviously, we've got this really dominant performance from Chronicle, 20-9. I definitely want to watch this VOD just because attack side is sort of where Veto is the hardest to figure out, in my opinion. And they dominated on attack, and he top fragged and had really good stats. So we'll definitely take a look at this one just because, like, how is he doing this on Veto? Good to learn from. Also, Sugetsu, you know, one of my favorite players on the Sentinel role in the world. Very good game on Veto as well. Some success on both sides of the map, so we'll take a look at this one as well. And then we've got some other ones. West side, not very good on Veto on Haven. Haven is interesting. I have some ideas on Haven that I'll go over as well, but probably won't look at this one. I feel like, you know, 8 and 10 while winning, probably not doing too much particularly well on this agent. Alternate attacks played him on Pearl in a Veto chamber comp with a Neon Fade Astro, which is kind of interesting. Going for like the double, you know, teleport escape against a comp that only has 2 Prowlers and an Eye potentially to clear space. So kind of an interesting idea. Again, probably won't look at this one just because I don't want to go over too many VODs, but just kind of keeping an eye on some of the things that people are trying. Here's another Chronicle one on Abyss. Against probably a slightly better team than Braton Mix, so maybe this one would be good to look at, but we may get to this one if we have some time. And then here is a Bind Veto with Mr. Fallen playing it. Bind is definitely a map where I think this agent is pretty good. So, you know, maybe some of this is similar to what Liquid is doing. Probably won't watch this, but I'll definitely talk about Bind at some point as well. Alternate attacks are not very good. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to watch this game because neither one of these teams is particularly strong. So, whoa, how did I switch that? Did I just, what the hell? Wait, am I just learning that you can sort the stats by clicking on these? Is this new? What the hell? I've never done this on VLR before. Did anybody else know you could do this? This is total news to me. Huh, live and learn. Okay. Well, let's start with some Chronicle. Let's start with some Chronicle, Veto, Abyss, and then I will also then go and talk about some of my ideas on the agent as well. I definitely think he's good on Abyss. It's very old. All right, well, fuck me then.
Inside. Oh.
Let me get up my epic pen.
Towards mid. So with the star down already, hoping to apply pressure there, but on the other side of the coin, Brata mix have the pings and the players out over towards B. Early aggression bolstered up by 4.
Am I liking
TP
the Tim
for
Tams?
quick
I mean,
if it's
they're
needed,
just cookies, but yeah, they're pretty good.
Mid is the goal.
Yeah, I think Brata mix learning from their mistakes. In map 1, Vitality defending, they were always pushing and getting information and acting in flanks. Whereas now, they're the team that want to take the fight to Vitality. Chronicle's got his work out for him.
Okay. So on Pistol Round, Chronicle kind of just does like the chamber thing. Teleport over here, come out, walk middle, can escape. Pretty normal. Although this is much harder to use than the chamber one. So I feel like this is not an every round thing that you should be doing, but we'll see how often he does this.
Can't find anything more.
And we're just going to skip through every round if he dies.
Stop.
Because I'm really only concerned with the Veto at this point.
It's just, this is all, like you said, continuing to be proactive.
Okay.
And continuing the success on the pistols.
So as part of their A take, he's going to go throw this here around the corner to absorb, you know, Teo missiles or a flash. I think this makes a lot of sense. Running with the pack.
All 3 pistols in favor of one side.
Insta pops it in case they fight back into him.
They can use that to springboard themselves into converting, because we saw what happened.
I think that's basically all the utility that he has for the round. So again, we'll skip through this. It's not really that important. Go on to the next round, gun round. Obviously, Vitality stole the round. So, what are my thoughts on Patman? I mean, I think he's a good player. He definitely helped Paper Rex sort of solidify their roles in a way that helped them level up as a team. I think having somebody that was like a dedicated sort of support player was super important for them to take the next step as a roster.
Rifle for himself.
Okay. Again, teleport. I assume this is the teleport. It's kind of weird on the minimap on the observer feed for some reason. Chronicle playing on top of this. Okay, this is kind of cool. So he teleported up here, withdrew his teleport, and then he threw this one down earlier. So he's just kind of holding it very far back in case they want to push up, which it looks like they might be doing. Not a bad idea.
Good for the environment, recycling,
what up, Gobsy? How are you?
And now into this one.
Zipan.
And he just
Eating
teleports
the
away.
leg that Zus wished to dish out in the last round. It's
So let me see. Does this make the most sense for this to be where the teleport is placed? Places it here. I guess this is about as far away as you could go and get on this ledge, but seems like you might want to. I guess this is not protected. Maybe you just want to teleport behind some cover if they're running you down. Can't really put it up here to escape faster. I guess you could put it maybe over here, and that would help you. I guess you'd be more out in the open, so maybe not.
A disrespectful move that gives Vitality the early lead. Foxy halfway to the ult. Still amounting towards B, but Sayonara there to relieve it. A second collected with this Outlaw.
Here.
More than happy to take the dog tags with him, just wanting to hunt for this information. Bratan Mixer, they stack.
Yep, okay. So far, I like a couple of things that Chronicle's doing. He's kind of treating it a little bit like an Omen teleport. Like one of the great spots, or a Chamber teleport, obviously. One of the great spots to play up here as Chamber or Omen. As you come into the A site, it gives you a line over the top of this smoke 90% of the time into at least this back corner, and sometimes you can even kind of swing out and fight people here. So I like this placement as you're coming in. And the fact that he's like pre-setting this up is really good, because then he can potentially swing with his team, use his interceptor, and then also teleport up here for like a second swing or second angle. It's kind of nice.
Backing a site, are they looking elsewhere? Zus, oh my word, took a few out of the Guardian. But it is the destination for Vitality, plugging it into the GPS, but Jamalino trying to slow them down. It's not going to stop
Places
the
the
spike.
interceptor for anti-retake utility.
As you say,
Comes
there
back
is
and watches the flank.
an aggressive move out of the Yoru. JD, in the meantime, spotting out Chronicle. 20 points of health left on the Phantom.
Cool. So I like the idea of that so far. All right, this time they're going to bring him over to A. He's going to do like the standard Chamber teleport over here. Scale up with his team. Probably use the interceptor up high to block flashes. Oops, that's his teammate, but block flashes, Teo missile, etc.
It is
Down.
an anti-eco converted.
Eats the
Importantly,
drone.
because it's something that Bratan Mix were unable to do when they had the weapons and up against the classics. Now, rifles across the board for everyone on the server.
Crosses, and then he obviously has the ability to bail out. It's a little awkward just because you kind of have to expose yourself to angles to teleport back, because the range is not quite far enough, but it's still pretty safe to do this.
A new test.
Sayonara
Who's next?
still graded highly for this Vitality side. Another opening frag, spotting out the Jet, knowing that there is a player in the heart of it all. Force back, Zus.
Okay, places the C's to sort of like be first line of contact on people trying to defuse the spike.
Without the ability.
I don't really mind that. Obviously, I think it would be nice if you had like something a little bit more valuable, like, you know, a anti-flood or anti-flood type of C's potentially. I did a bit of testing with this ability, and there's definitely a lot of like little ledges. Like you can probably get it stuck on this little ledge right here, so it's not as easy to break. But if you put it too high, then it won't capture people. So like the C's range is only 6.5 meters. So if you were to put it like up here, it'll trigger as people run through, but then it won't actually seize anybody. Roster Mania Pacific when? I'm recording with Chobra later today. So Chobra and I will be doing the Pacific episode later today. I already have the Chinese one done with TMV, and I'm just trying to figure out who to do the Americas one with. So I will have one for every single region. I'm having some problems exporting from Premiere recently. I don't know if my computer is cooked or what, but it's been taking me like 4 attempts to get my videos exported now because they keep crashing, which is super annoying. But the episodes will be coming out. Should have all 4 of them out by the end of the weekend, probably. Assuming I can find a good America's expert.
Us. Without the ability to see from the heaven, the Astra Star used as a blocker to make sure that Vitality can set up this post plant.
But also in towards the post plant, you have that trip that's dropped. You can capitalize on the players towards hell that's dropped down, but you also have the fail safe anyway with Yampy playing in towards main with that Hunter through.
Okay, so has the interceptor. Could throw it out again. Doesn't really do anything, but cool.
Fell upon, but
So
Messing
far,
about.
honestly, keeping it pretty simple, which I don't mind. Like I feel like every time there's a new agent, there's always sort of like a bit of a opportunity for people to overcomplicate and overcook a little bit. Again, I don't totally love treating him as chamber here, but I feel like on this part of the map, it's not so bad just because you've got the ability to fall back behind cover twice to teleport out. The main thing that you definitely don't want to see with Veto is literally treating it like a chamber where you're just like out in the open trying to swing and then insta teleport, because it's impossible to do that.
Maybe not necessarily showing too many signs of life, but at least they have signs of money and signs of weapons. And
But he does have some chamber-esque potential, and one of the things that he can do is this type of
opportunity
thing.
in towards this one. A little bit of a change in setup, going aggressive in towards A, but at that moment, Vitality goes straight in towards B.
Found my wire.
JD opening frag. Durka watches from the sidelines as the Cypher still kicks on.
The one thing I don't totally like is that it feels like to me that he would be more useful coming in with the team to use Interceptor, and you could just have the Astra do this job. Like, because Astra can still lurk. Obviously, you can't teleport out, but the Astra could just lurk and take the same lines while the Veto helps the team entry on B.
Jump started a second frag, looking for a third as Yampi there to make sure that this defense will falter.
They've got to be happy to let this be in towards a retake as the dimensional drift, but tap of the spike
Threat down.
and
Wow.
redirection, because Chronicle's position in towards mid is a massive, massive advantage.
We talked about these.
I also feel like Chronicle should definitely be popping his ult if he's going to be lurking. Because, like, why not? Take multiple duels with the heal. You can be very aggressive without having to worry about getting counter-utiled in weird
Lurks
spots.
being an issue that Vitality
Seems
were
like he
throwing
should
up
probably
on the
just be
defense.
using his
Never
ult.
mind the attack.
Okay, now he does use it. Makes
Chronicles
sense.
pulled everyone over to B and able to catch one in transition.
Even two.
Ooh,
Forward,
unfortunate.
but Foxy there to silence, but it will not stop the spike yet again. You were talking about the Hunter's Fury as a failsafe in the last round. That's still available here.
Traditional Sentinel doesn't go well with Veto. What do you mean, like playing double Sentinel? Or are you're saying like traditional Sentinel player?
You also have the counter now. You're looking at Foxy with that Armageddon. Can disrupt this position in towards main if he so wishes, but the only thing is the time that's being bought by both of these players playing so deep in towards main, but the fact that Bratamix have to regain all of this space, all of this real estate.
It's used.
Okay, anyway, Chronicle's dead. We'll skip through this. I don't really care what happens in this round. Once he dies.
So impactful, allows for the playing time to the T.
Okay, next round. Interesting. Okay, so we've got the trip here. We've got Chronicle sitting over here. He has cover to hide behind to teleport out. His teleport is pretty close to him, but I guess he doesn't want it to be exposed to somebody walking down here potentially. So kind of makes sense. And so far we're seeing basically always a single teleport used early on, the second one held in the pocket. This has been placed almost every single round, like traditional Sentinel utility.
Again, Bratamix wants to go aggressive. Will clear out Chronicle, but he just fights forward. It's a low bind. So none of these players are acting scared, want to take the fights. And immediately two in favor.
And he just plays anti-push,
attacking
which
side.
makes sense.
A confidence builder for Vitality. Not that they need much more.
Cool. Pretty simple round. Let's go ahead and skip
Towards the
forward.
mic, making
Call a timeout.
sure. It's the same, also without any.
All right. Again, we've got this teleport, which means he's going to try and cross here, I assume. He's got the flank watch. They're pretty heavy committed to A based on this setup.
Shields.
They do have the Astra lurking, which I think I prefer. I really do like the idea of not having the Veto lurk a lot of the time. I think it's fine for him to do it sometimes, but I really am pretty on the train of him being a pack agent. Like, I think he's supposed to go with the team a lot of the time.
So for a direct hit for Vitality, wanting to challenge in towards the same main space.
Okay, so Chronicle basically just scaling and running with the team. He didn't really do anything Veto related there. They are going to win this round. It is what it is.
And it's the wall. Mind.
I just feel all they had a main position. Fuck.
Okay. Same kind of thing. Chronicle with the teleport here, meaning that he's probably going to try and cross. No trip this time. And
They had to stay close, had to keep fighting
no
further.
Interceptor immediately used.
And
basically just scaling
instead
with
of
Durka.
being able to secure the round, offers up Vitality the way back in. Now back on towards a lower buy. It should just be easy pickings, and it is for the first initial two.
Okay, it uses the trip to be sort of like anti-reclear utility.
The thing is, Vitality have no intention of going in towards A off the back of it. It's pulled every single player of Brata makes to this round.
Okay, just takes the dry duel. It is fine. They get the openers though, so they're going to win the round. Didn't use Interceptor at all this round, which is interesting.
And straight in towards this one.
Okay, Chronicle again, just swinging with Durka.
Not quite enough, and straight in towards this.
Again, not popping ult, which is kind of interesting.
This one. Last play to fall in the previous, first to fall in this one. A lot of damage on towards Durka, so there's that. But again, numbers immediately in favor of Vitality.
Again, no Interceptor used.
Foxy's drone quickly removed. I think spotting only one. And Chronicle.
I wonder if he's not using the Interceptor because he wants to save it for an exec, or whether he just doesn't really see good opportunity to place it.
Oh man!
And
Comes
Zus
a dry fight again.
It was
sent away immediately.
It was their own Astra Star, man.
Again, the anti-reclear trip.
The
It's
pickup
fine.
smoke just stood in the middle of the open.
2-on-5. A couple of these players.
And then he places his second teleport here to basically take the mid line.
Low.
So basically just playing chamber on this round.
Happy.
Again, has the ult, has the Interceptor with no use.
Vitality.
Alright, show me something interesting.
Questionable approach to Haven. I think a very
Okay, ulting immediately. I do like this.
unconventional way that they won the first half in this half, however.
Looking for a fight middle.
Nothing short of faultless. Sayonara.
They also are setting him up well by doing a Yoru ult exec on B, so there will be fast rotation through middle, which he should be able to maybe find a pickoff on.
Using that Yoru ult, the dimensional drift.
I think I would kind of like for him to at least just put the Interceptor here. Because then if they do drone out here, which they've already shown that they will do several times, then if you're in middle and you hear the drone coming, you can just pop the Interceptor, and then it makes it seem like you're defaulting. And then you can still do your thing middle, and all you have to do is just in response to sound here, you just pop the Interceptor, and then it fakes that you're at A. Thoughts on Patman and GE? I don't understand the roles, and I don't have any inside information. I think he's a solid player. He's obviously like a good teammate. But yeah, I think it's going to be sort of up to the coaching staff to make sure that everybody is playing the right stuff and that they can all kind of like get on the same page as far as like their jobs in the team. But like, I think he's a good player, and he's got, despite being a rookie last year, he's got good experience because he played a lot of games on stage last year.
The way that they won the first half in this half, however, nothing short of faultless. Sayonara. Using that Yoru ult, the dimensional drift.
Okay, what's Chronicle
Already
do
gets
here?
space creator. Now they know where the sniper is. See all the Utah being deployed. No chance for
Just
JD.
hanging out
Sayonara
in
wants to
middle.
take flights and take matters into his own hands. 3 kills instantaneously.
We'll eventually find a lurk here, it looks like.
And that's the insane thing about Vitality is we haven't even seen the necessary move to pull out a change of pace.
Cool. So he gets the lurk kill. And didn't do too much to help them win the round, but just kind of existed.
Side, they can't get anything done.
Okay, this is a slightly different setup. So they've got Teleport here, 3 people scaling middle, no trip placed, no interceptor placed. See what they do with this position.
Nicely done by...
Really seems like they've basically just like put him in a, like, his job almost every round is just like follow Durka and trade him if he dies, or like 1-2 punch with him, which I think is kind of cool. It definitely seems like you probably always want, like, if the Veto's with the pack, he should never be first one in, and he probably is just always best as like a refragger. Second or third in through the choke a lot of the time.
Durka and Chronicle. 5 on 3. The picture being painted. Looking nothing like what we saw in map 1. See, the expenditure of utility.
Again, not really seeing a lot of value from the util. Like, even right now, I know he has a second teleport. Why not just put a second teleport in here? You know the door is still here. Just put a second teleport in here, and then you can get more aggressive and maybe teleport to safety. I feel like this is one of those things that you'll probably see people do when they get a little bit more comfortable with the agent.
From this Bratan mix sides. But Vitality don't even move an inch. They don't care one bit.
There.
Durka spotted the arm of the Omen. Zipan trying to move away, but his
He
position
breaks the door
compromised.
to fake that they're going A.
This is looking like double digits for Vitality here, unless they really mess this one.
Or another thing that you could do is, if you're planning on faking this, just throw your teleport into here so that you can actually break this, quickly rotate, and help your team.
One up.
Has to be careful though, because JD is still over towards this B position, and you can see the
Trip
regroup
here, which I think is
of
fine.
Vitality leaning towards B. 3 players and the spike make that 4. And with Durka still in this position over towards mid.
Okay, puts it like a chamber teleport. I mean, this is pretty useless. You're almost never going to use this.
It's just another thing that Ratamix are going to have to deal with. Here's a player in towards
Hello,
spawn.
camper.
Information.
Coming. Focus play.
Alright, last round of the half.
This is going to be the last opportunity.
Show
Say
me
Vitality taking
something
time out.
interesting,
That makes
please.
it really good.
Alright, we're just doing our chamber round again. So basically, they just played him like chamber on attack, which, you know, it's not the worst thing. They had like a couple of interesting ideas early on, but nothing particularly groundbreaking. You know, I think the general idea makes sense. Like I said, I think this teleport is fine. Get the Veto out here, have him search for kills with like a chamber, and then you can always fall back behind cover and teleport out, which is okay. But I also think that having him lurk a lot is not necessarily the best way to play it. VOD review GE versus NKT. I already did that, bro. I watched their soup qualifiers. There's a VOD on my channel of me watching those games, so you can check that out. I also think I would really like to see him maybe exploring, especially the rounds where he didn't use the interceptor or use the trip, like explore some ideas. Like, one thing that I've tried out that I think is kind of interesting is just throwing the trip off rip if there's a spot where you think there might be a gap. So like throwing it from here to like here. If you're pressuring B, sometimes you'll just have a trip here and you'll have like really deep control in middle of their rotate. I think you can throw it like here immediately. You can throw it here. One thing I really like is if you're starting B, there's like a perfect gap where you can throw it here. So it'll be your flank watch, like deep as you scale up onto B quickly. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to get some more value here. I'm one of your top creators on your YouTube rap. Well, thank you. I appreciate all the time that you spent watching. I do appreciate that a lot. What else can you do? Yeah, like I said, I think if you know that they're droning a lot, I think leaving an interceptor alone and going with your team can be really good, or at least being somewhere where you can hear it. Maybe you scale up here and then you hear them drone, you pop the interceptor so they think that you're outside of A, but then you're already like up here. I think that's kind of an interesting thing that you can do with this agent on attack. skip the NKT game. Well, that's fine. Let's see. So yeah, some kind of interesting ideas, but generally pretty simple stuff. All right, let's go ahead and look at Sunset Sugetsu. We're gonna be able to see this VOD. Veto. Maybe not. Maybe we will. 2 days ago, I assume this is them. You gotta subscribe to watch. That's annoying. Okay, can we find... we maybe find this on YouTube? Let's see. Carmine Court. First trash can. Valorant Mundi. My guy.
It is time, my friends. Carving car.
Or actually, hold on. Wait, we've got the full thing from Carmine Core, looks like. Okay, Split and Sunset. Let's go to Sunset.
Il peut TP. Je pensais que ça durait pas longtemps. En fait, je sais pas si c'est.
Gonna be French commentary. So if you're offended by the French, unlucky. Also, give me 1 second. I'm gonna put my desk up. My back is hurting, so I'm gonna go standing real quick. Is Kazakhstan and EMEA or Asia as per VCT standards? It counts as EMEA, which is unfortunate for the likes of Sultan and Dacia. But yeah, they count it as EMEA from what I understand.
C'est broken.
Ah oui, du coup, par contre, la boule, tu sais, tu en attaques contre Sage, Deadlock et tout, si tu la mets, bah tu l'as vu de toute façon, ça encule le mur. Et pareil, si t'es pris sous un ulti Deadlock et ça c'est activé, bah en fait ça te détruit le cocon.
Ok. Ah, ça enlève les trappes et tout aussi? Même les trucs invisibles?
Okay, super interested to see this KC team also, just because I feel like they have a lot of potential this year. I'm curious to see how Shados calls. They have a lot of firepower. Obviously, Dacia moving over here. I remember Saul Goodman, his scrim account name.
Bah si c'est dans la range, en gros si le trap a la range de voir le trap ou il va le détruire.
Ok. Ah ouais, c'est vraiment fort, hein?
Pour moi c'est très très fort.
Ok.
Genre, ouais, mais pour moi en VCT on va beaucoup le voir l'année prochaine. Enfin, moi c'est comme Wiley, je disais ça va être fort, les gens ils ont pris du temps. Après il y avait Yoru et tout, les gens. Qui peut avoir? T'as ça, pour moi c'est de la D.
Faut que je pré-shot les prochains champions de Valo.
38.
Okay, so it looks like Sugetsu insta interceptor to counter maybe a flash or dart
37.
or
36.
stun,
Ouais,
makes
c'est
sense.
25.
Bon,
Helps them take the A
Allez,
space.
c'est parti.
Et là le bruit que t'entends du coup c'est quand il est activé le sort. Et ça veut dire bah dans les prises main ils ne peuvent pas prendre de main. Parce
du
qu'ils
coup,
envoient des sorts mais c'est détruit automatiquement.
Ils doivent jouer complètement différemment.
Par contre ça détruit pas la paranoïa. En gros tout ce qui...
So I think this right here is like probably one of the main ways that you're going to see teams use Veto on attack. Is he's just kind of like he's like an anti-default character where whatever the defenders might do as far as utility to take early space, you put the Veto there to support one of your teammates or potentially like your whole team as far as like your initial space taking play. I think this makes a lot of sense.
Ouais, physique.
Projectile, ouais c'est ça.
Ouais.
Un coup d'épaule.
Bah, du coup, ils sont obligés de jouer reculer à la mort, c'est ce qu'ils ont fait là, ils sont adaptés.
Ouais, bah là en plus, il y a des on joue Brimstone, frère. Eh, je sais pas ce que ça va faire, mais bonne chance.
Mais en vrai, c'est pas mal parce que tu clears. Ah, j'ai un bug. Tu clears un. Tu clears l'entrée et après, t'envoies full stuff. Tu vas sur un site, tu fais full exec avec cette merde, non?
Bah, la prismaine, elle va être bien. Et le trap, bah, en gros, tu peux le mettre dans une smoke. Quoi.
And kind of similar to what Vitality is doing. They just have
Ok.
the duelist and the
Le
veto
snake
stacked
prend un, le trade
together,
va être long. Ouais, le duel était long, mais
basically.
Shadows va l'emporter.
trading
Ok, super.
trading each other.
T'as bien x2 ou j'attends?
Bah, faut que je mette x2 attends.
Last player standing.
Cool, makes sense.
Difficile, parce
Alright.
que Brimstone peut pas mettre de one way. Du coup, on mettra une one way.
Now they bring
Attention.
Je sais pas où il va jouer du coup.
the veto
Bon,
over to
réception,
B.
je pense.
Allez, repique. Vas-y, vas-y, repique. Petit coucou. Salut. Wow. Allez, repique, frérot.
Puts the teleport across in case he wants to get to another angle. Or he can also entry and then teleport back if he needs to get to safety.
Là, on détruit. Bon, on a pas
Non,
besoin de
non,
détruire les trappes.
non, non, là, il a mis un
trap.
TP.
Ah,
un
il a
TP,
mis
un TP.
ok.
Et le trap, je te dis, hein, je.
Ooh, that's something that's interesting. If you're going to drone and you're playing against a KO, if there's a way for you to throw your interceptor through the choke to help the drone not get knifed,
Normalement, on le met jamais
it might
derrière.
be sort of like a little bit
Ah,
of a
mais direct dans le
niche
site, en fait, vu que c'est un pool.
use.
Ok, nice
Bah,
flash.
Okay, takes initial contact, dies, but
off lane.
easy win for KC. Now what?
Lane. Ah, vas-y, dégage, frère.
Okay, so 3 out of 3 rounds. Vito's been with the pack.
Bon, prise mid.
Bah, les win, c'est bien, les gars.
Les win. Ah, il dit les win.
Ah, les win, du coup.
Ah, les win.
Le mec, il avait raison dans le chat hier. Ça a dit que c'était un clown. Allez, attention, il est reveal, Sunflower. Il va courir. Dodo. Ça a dit que c'était un clown. Allez, attention, il est reveal, Sunflower. Il va courir. Dodo. Il y en a un deuxième derrière, on le sait. On le sait pas. On va le savoir.
Loon.
Okay, basically just being like a pack
Clown.
A pack guy. Trip here, comes with the team, puts interceptor in the choke point, they scale through, give himself a teleport bailout spot potentially.
Simon, t'es chaud, Simon? Avez. Avez est en vie.
Avez, il a une putain de pause, hein.
Avez.
What is the range on this, by the way? We go. I don't really think this is necessarily the best spot you could put. Okay, so you can cover the whole, basically the whole top side. So you might want to just, as you're scaling in, drop it behind you. Although, I guess you don't really know if they're coming this way, so maybe not.
Est en vie.
Il va mettre une one way, il va décaler dessus. Non, non, il met une one way.
Okay, anyway.
Lève.
Lève. Eh, les win, frère, me casse pas les couilles. Ils ont sorti un Marshall, attention, ouais, ce gars qui va être low.
Okay, I mean, this teleport doesn't really do anything. I guess, like, if you get stunned over here, you could maybe fall back behind this and teleport, but it doesn't really do anything. I feel like this teleport is completely useless.
On a bientôt l'ulti, hein.
Unless, the only reason this teleport is good is if you can scale out and then take it back here. So it's like a pre-scaling teleport. It doesn't help you with the initial fight. It's just a dry fight.
Et on a lève.
Okay, and then he does sort of like anti-reclear.
Et on a...
I've definitely seen a lot of people doing this. This makes a lot of sense. This is something that I've also been using this trip for when I mess around with the agent, is like take the initial space, use the trip to sort of reinforce the space, kind of like a deadlock sensor, kind of like a chamber trip. Just hold the space. It's very hard for teams to re-clear you if you do that.
On a lève. Sous outlaw.
C'est
Seconde.
D'ailleurs, les gars, hier,
Cette année, il va avoir Galatasaray.
free win.
Seconds left.
La paranoïa.
Ah, paranoïa.
Bon, allez, le strike.
La reveal elle est
Reveal,
bonne.
vraiment reveal. Et ça fait -2.
Attention,
Attention, reveal
Archangel.
aussi. Archangel. Lève.
Okay, this is our first solo veto round. He's got the trip here. I assume he's going to insta interceptor this, which is going to eat Sova Dart, flash, maybe stun as well, which this is like a perfect round to do this because they've shown B, they've shown A. If they're going to fight A aggressively because they're losing, which kind of makes sense, you put the veto here, you eat all of their utility. He gets information early, you get no value out of it. And then you can escape, although he doesn't have a teleport. Yeah. Instant interceptor, pops his ult.
Allez, c'est parti, 4-0.
Ouais.
13-0 possible.
Deuxième round armée. Ça joue lentement. Orienté mid B. La main, c'est vraiment tranquille. Bah, ils reprennent
Ouais,
l'information avec
l'ulti,
le drone, hein, mais du coup, on leur fait perdre du temps. Ulti, ouais, l'ulti là.
The range here on this is actually kind of nuts. Is there a way to even get it further? Let's see. If we put this here, are you at risk of being shot by somebody from here? You might be. There might be a way to get you even deeper. But I guess the only spot would be here. Which, if this is closed, you could do this and maybe walk all the way up into top middle, but otherwise this is a pretty good spot. You've got the trip behind you, so you can kind of explore all of middle. You can get everywhere except for this tiny little corner. Walk down to here, walk to this spot. It seems like pretty good value.
Activer Thanos là, il
Il
prend Thanos sur
aucun
lurk, non?
spell. Aucun spell, après, on le joue pas dans un. On l'a juste eu claquer là, c'est tout.
Ouais, mais parce qu'il dure tout l'ulti. Enfin, tout le round.
Ouais, tout le monde, ok.
Ouais, là, ils veulent faire une reprise mid. Hein. Et je t'en parlais tout à l'heure, justement, le spam smoke où tu les forcer à faire des reprises à travers les smokes. Ils ont cancel. Ils ont cancel, mais voilà, ils doivent le faire et ils sont gênés. Hein. Ça se voit qu'ils sont gênés.
On est reveal.
Ah, le drone qui fait reculer. Attention,
Okay, they
Dima.
drone the veto up.
Magnifique, Dima. Ah, et t'as
It's
un
on the
rapid fire
line.
aussi sur...
Ooh, teleports out. Now he's middle. Okay. That's kind of nice. Gets the initial pick, instantly repositions to middle.
Là,
Maybe catch rotations as they scramble to come reinforce A.
là, ils sont dérangés. Hein. Là, ça tourne de partout.
On baisé, nous. On dort un peu. 30 secondes, on va accélérer en A maintenant. Ils vont comprendre.
But generally, he's staying with the pack. When they actually go hit the site, he's with the pack.
Oh, bah, il faut, parce que là, c'est...
ça
Ok,
monte
il est vu, il est vu.
Oh non.
Ooh.
Spike down A.
Holy shit.
10 secondes. Ok, Aves qui va. Oh, dommage. Oh, ouais.
C'est vraiment dommage, ça.
Ah,
Ça, c'est
I see.
vraiment
Okay.
singe, frère. C'est vraiment singe.
Alright.
Mon frère. Pour l'instant, j'attends de
Okay.
voir en défense. Là.
Again, same thing. Anti.
Moi, j'ai eu un bug. Hein.
Force à toi, frérot. Un flash.
The anti defense util. It is interesting that he's peeking through here and he's not giving himself a bailout teleport, which seems a little bit weird. Like, you have two teleports. I don't understand why you wouldn't. Like, if you're going to take this line and you're going to anti their util, I guess maybe he just figures, like, if he's going to anti the util, he doesn't need a teleport because he's not going to get stunned. But still, it seems like you might as well just use one of your teleports here, anywhere that's not in the open. You thought we would get more inserting interceptor on defaults, TPing out of the pack. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I've been thinking about with him a bit, is like kind of like what you can do with Yoru as a secondary duelist, where like if you, let's say you do something like this, maybe put a teleport here, or put a teleport like here, and then, or what am I trying to do? Put a teleport like this, something like this, and then you run up with your team. You like interceptor to help them get through the choke point. And then you like teleport, and then you come back and reflank as your team hits B. I think that's something you could potentially do with this character. But yeah, he's definitely just kind of like been with the pack fighting a lot of the time. Do players get drug tested? Not that I know of. I mean, teams might have their own policies. And I assume that if Riot had like some clear suspicion of something that they might do that, but I have never experienced that being part of like the process of getting ready for a game. They've never been like, all right, well, you got to go pee in a cup before you go on stage. Like that never happens from what I've seen.
Moko, il a vu.
The problem with the TP is that they aren't like chamber Yoru teleports. It's kind of one and done. Repositioning is good. Yeah, I mean, the best way to think about the teleports, in my opinion, is like it's kind of like an Omen teleport that requires a little bit more setup, and also a little bit like a Yoru teleport as to give you like a secondary option. I think it's probably the least like a chamber teleport, which is funny because on the map it looks the most like a chamber teleport, but I think it's probably the least like a chamber teleport out of all the teleports in the game. I think you're better off thinking about it more like an Omen teleport that you have to set up prior.
Attention, la choc d'art qui va être bonne. Simon Dark qui est obligé de reculer. On se doute qu'un joueur elbow et on va smoke. Hein.
Des smokes, frérot. On a que ça, des smokes.
Ouais, parce que là, faut garder un espace. Hein. On le fait en 2 temps. Oh, il est bizarre, les gars, le round là. Oh. Ouais, non, le round. Oh, le round, il est.
Sikray is owning them. Alright. Quick little timeout from Zeish. Carmen Core doesn't like the fact they lost 2 rounds in a row. What are they going to do now? Looks like they're on an eco. Veto, maybe a little lost in the sauce. He's doing nothing, didn't place any utility. Trying to join the team.
Ah putain, un vest qui est tombé.
Ouais, au niveau du top mid, on a voulu tease.
Elle était déjà là-bas, c'est un monstre.
D'ailleurs, il y a double TP depuis la thèse dans la smoke et après. T'as vu comment ça a tiré le rayon laser là?
Là, tu l'entends, il est actif et tu peux le détruire, j'imagine.
Ouais, il a un HP le truc.
What about starting defaults in the pack, getting deep and interceptor to counter re-clear like A main, then TPing away from the pack to mid? Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Is like you support the team initially, and then you kind of look for a quick reflank on a timing that people are maybe not ready for. Because like if you show yourself with the pack, they might not expect you to be somewhere else quickly. I think that's definitely one option.
Du coup. Oh, par contre, on est tellement lent.
Ouais.
Ah, m'envoyez pas une map 3, vous allez me tuer.
En plus, c'est un map 3, moi. Celle-là, ouais, large.
Oh non.
J'aimerais bien.
Attention, la flash est bonne.
Mais c'est la vie s'il n'y a pas.
Toi, on avance. Attention, la flash est bonne.
Non, c'est 20h. Bah, vu que tu es mieux que moi, frérot.
Attention, dommage. Dommage, on n'a pas réussi à déborder. Attention, dis-moi.
Ok, Archangel, il touche, hein. HS, c'est.
I think the main problem is that I just don't like him being the lurk. I don't like Veto being the lurk a lot of the time.
Ouais, on a quand même des bons ultis.
Ah, cette smoke qui on l'a utilisé.
On n'arrive pas à trouver la solution là depuis le. Ah, ok, ça va, on a revenge. Ça fait la diff. Il y a encore l'opérateur là-bas, mais on n'est jamais allé parti le chercher en fait.
En théorie, l'opérateur il change de position. Lui, c'est le seul opérateur, il cherche, il reste sur sa pose. Mais du coup, on claque le drone.
C'est bien.
Ouais.
Il a essayé de lui mettre à l'envers.
Non, lui. je respecte les couilles à papa, mais bon. Il a essayé de lui
mettre à l'envers de fou. Mais du coup, on perd Levne.
Levne. En fait, vois ça comme un V.
Lewen, frérot.
Levne.
Spike planted.
Okay, wait. So he's got... I'm confused. He's got a teleport here and a teleport here. The teleport here makes sense. The teleport here, why? Was he gonna push spawn and then thought better of it?
Un ulti néon qui est parti. Ok, c'est bien, c'est revenge instant. C'est un 2v3. Allez. Gitsu. Oh oui, tu le sais. Le sens du timing. Il peut TP. Non, il est suppressed.
Il y a ulti Brimstone.
Ulti Brimstone tranquille, on gagne du temps.
He feels like a pack sentinel. That's sort of my thought.
On a gagné, hein.
Ouais, on a
On a gagné, hein. Ok, oui, mon frère.
Et elle arrive, cette Molly.
Oh, Dacia with the molly wins
Et
them
5-3, mais
the round.
Lève.
Okay.
lève.
Again, with the
Avec
pack,
Owen,
trip
il a tenté un
here.
petit move greedy, c'est pas passé.
On est reparti sur la prise.
Ouais, et là on met un.
Là, l'opérateur a
système
changé. Hein.
profit.
Okay, but I will say, like... Yeah, I definitely do feel you. It kind of feels like they gave him this ability to help deal with all of the utility spam, but then the rest of his kit is a little bit like all over the place. I do think though that if you're going to use the interceptor as like your initial space take, I think it's probably fine to have him lurk more, but what you would want to do is like put a teleport like this, pop the interceptor, scale, show yourself, teleport, reflank quickly. Or maybe even more aggressive, like put both teleports like this. This is like kind of next level shit, but like put both teleports like this, and then you interceptor, run here, teleport, teleport, and then you're on the other side of the map while your team uses the interceptor to take A main slowly. I think that's maybe an option. Kind of a weird use of his utility.
Ah non, je sais même pas si c'est un OP.
Si, il a OP, il a OP.
Because, like, the main reason you want him to be with the pack is so you can use the interceptor to help you get into sight and counter util or like hold your initial default space. But if you're using it instantly, then it's on cooldown for 40 seconds, and so they don't really need you because you're just another body at that point, basically.
Il a pas entendu, magnifique. OG normalement, mais on a Pascal dessus, donc il y a moyen que c'est un misclick, je suis pas sûr. Attention, oh, c'est bizarre là. On a TP au terre, il a pas entendu, il a pas entendu. Il a pas entendu, magnifique. Dommage.
That teleport up there is definitely nice. Again, it's very much like an Omen. You play 1-1-3, you can transition into 2-2-1 or a 3-2 very quickly. Yeah, true. I think that is definitely where some of his value is that you show like one set, but then you're actually in a different set. Kind of like what you can do with Yoru, right? Like if you have a Yoru, a lot of the time, I really feel like you should just have a teleport at one side of the map. You do stuff at the other side of the map, then you're instantly on the other side of the map and you're doing stuff. So it's like kind of a similar thing, but a little bit clunkier.
On a les flashs de Yoru et une reveal, mais j'ai pas l'impression qu'on a joué avec nos spells là. On allait un peu à l'arrache. Sauf que comme tu l'as dit, on joue lentement, donc ils avaient un stack. Là on se retrouve en écho à 5-4. Oh, ça bug.
Ah, c'est toi, force à toi, c'est Mander qui fait le kill sur Shadows.
Okay, so he does use it to eat the stun there, which helps him get through. That's good.
Ouais, Léon qui arrive à... Sunflower qui arrive à bien bunker justement sur Léon. Et là c'est le chaos là, t'as des bisous de smoke frère, carrément.
Je comprends rien là. Ok, bon ben... C'était une écho, bas les couilles.
Yeah, Hershey. Yeah, that's definitely something that you can do. I was talking about it on on Abyss, but you could also do it similarly here. Like, you could technically like start here and let's say you're worried about somebody here, you probably can find a lineup where you just like throw this here, and then, you know, if you ever want to come back to A, then if this hasn't been tripped, then you know that you can probably scale up here without having to worry about like an operator on this first line. Obviously, if they see this, they can just play like second line, and then they can maybe fuck you because of that, but you can at least like come back into this area a little bit more safely, only worrying about this side a lot of the time. Or you could do like another thing that you can maybe do is throw a lineup insta like out here, and then you know that they're maybe not out like that. Stuff like that. You know, throw it over here potentially. I don't know. There's definitely some options as far as using it as like a search for info in a part of the map that you normally would not be able to get to easily.
C'est vrai ça.
Allez.
Okay, Veto gets scanned at B by the knife. He's just going to go ahead and walk up anyway.
On va y retourner la team.
Voilà, prise mid.
Pops
La
his
tête de moi, il
ult.
m'endorme. La tête de moi, il m'endorme, frère.
Ouais, ouais, là, la game elle est lente de fou. Mais en plus, on a perdu les derniers rounds. Donc c'est pas plaisant. La flash qui va pas passer. On a l'info d'opérateur, ça c'est bien.
Ouais, dis-moi qui prend le kill sur
Super,
Kaio.
oui.
Sous ulti, hein.
Ouais.
C'est-à-dire tout ce qui est trap et tout, il s'en bat.
C'est pas plaisant. La flash qui va pas passer. On a l'info d'opérateur, ça c'est bien.
Ouais. Dire tout ce qui est trap et tout, il s'en bat les couilles. On a été repéré.
En plus, on a la reveal, donc on sait qu'il a reculé. Oh, dommage. Quel ping. Allez,
Le kill qui va être renvoyé.
on y va, on le voit lui ici, on le voit ici. Paranoïa, la classique.
Il a TP mid.
Whoa, that
on
was
le voit
crazy.
ici.
That was a
Paranoïa,
nice
la
paranoia
classique.
play.
Il a TP mid. Fils de.
Ah ouais, il a bien joué en
Ouais,
vrai.
j'ai fait de la
The
dé.
reaction from that Owen was crazy fast
Oh,
though.
le timing en notre faveur, Avez. 3v4. 4v3 à notre avantage du coup.
Spike planted.
Omen est low.
Change les armes, ouais. Prend l'opérateur, il donne la fantôme à Simon Dark. C'est bon vieux Simon. Simon.
I feel like Veto Util isn't much helpful to hold a site. Are you talking about on defense or on attack retake?
Attends, ça veut dire en général, la...
Alright, one more round of attack.
Bref,
Allez, ça va
avec
partir,
ses
6-5.
ultis. On rejoue le mid, Néon qui veut nous faire claquer du stuff mid? Non, même pas, juste pick. Freeze B main. Et aussi potentiellement de pourquoi c'est plus lent, bah tu sais les stuff maintenant ils sont passés de 40 à 60
Okay,
secondes.
uses the
renouvelable,
interceptor to
notamment les
clear
deux.
the camera.
ok.
T'as moins de smoke et tout. Voilà, c'est pour ça aussi double smoke potentiel.
Defense.
YouTube vraiment.
Yeah,
Ils
I
vont lâcher
mean,
tout là,
you have
mais-
to put the trip in specific places.
Et là ils veulent
You can't just have it like on the floor because the detection range is pretty far.
se top mid.
And actually, how much HP does it have? It's like a one shock dart kill, right? Not what I wanted to do. I think it only has like 20 HP, right? Yeah, 20 HP. So it's very easy to kill this.
Ils veulent se top mid, mais nous c'est pas notre dos. Là pour l'instant. Ouais, il est lâché, le petit caillot. Franchement, si on gagne, moi ça me dérange pas. Mais
Oh, moi, je m'en fous, moi.
qu'on commence pas à perdre et jouer comme ça. À faire fatigue, mais juste pour perdre. Le TPB.
Okay, Veto teleports to safety.
Ils ont l'information quand même la TP.
Kind of entries. I think that's
Ah,
fine.
avantage
It's
tellement
nice.
rapide.
What's the actual range on this? You gotta be kind of exposed. Actually, no, you can be here. To throw this, you have to be kind of exposed. But then you can actually just teleport from safety.
Finir.
Reveal,
Ah, il a fait les deux.
Tries to scale, get shot. Okay. Let's see what they have on
Mais
defense.
sur les autres
then. Can I rate which sentinel is good to the worst? In the current meta?
Meta?
Yeah, let me
c'est
finish
les faces rota.
this map and then I'll
Genre,
make
tu
the
fais vraiment
raw
genre-
tier list for you.
Ouais, bah bind, tu peux vraiment te repositionner avec les TP tu sais, de la map. Attends, on n'est pas naïf. Ça, c'est Heretics 2024, les gars, on connaît. On connaît, les gars. Ça va, il passe par l'elbow. Ça, c'est un des grands classiques des pistoles, on les connaît. On a l'habitude. On reprend, frère, one way. Après, la one way, elle pue sa mère un peu. Enfin, la one way Brimstone.
Ok, c'est vu.
On sait qu'il y a un danger, c'était, les gars. Shadow, c'était pas naïf, mon gars. Shadow, c'était pas naïf.
Well, I missed what his
Ça va, il
setup
passe.
was.
4, les gars. De la map. Ouais, bah,
What was his
c'est
setup?
les faces rota.
Trip for B.
Genre, tu fais vraiment genre de la map.
Basically
Attends, on est
nothing
pas naïf.
else.
Ça va, il passe
Kinda
par l'elbow.
weird. Interceptor for backside, no teleports. Okay.
Et... On a un judge. T'es moi, il y a un rallye, frère.
Okay, teleport here like chamber, interceptor to eat the. So this is definitely good because like basically every team, if they start A, has utility for this. So the interceptor to counter this utility is going to be really strong. That's definitely one thing you want to look for is like where are the most common places for people to open utility, like default utility. I think like one example, obviously it's not in the pool, but like Ascent, every single team is utiling here or they're utiling here at the start of the round. Actually, I guess that's not entirely true. Lots of teams will util here as well. But yeah, if you know that they're darting into middle, just like insta veto interceptor here, or if you know they're darting into A, put the veto interceptor here, and then it will eat the dart and make it really hard for them to take space.
C'est un ghost. On a un judge.
What do I think about new GE roster and what am I rating the changes with APAC? Doing my APAC episode today with Chobra, so we'll have some stuff like that coming out soon. And then what do I think about the new GE roster? I guess you'll just have to watch the episode and find out.
T'es moi, il y a un rallye, frère. De stade, c'est rallye, frère.
Ouais, il aime trop le judge, frère. Ah ouais. Ok, ça va chez deux, on a pris 2 avec sa vandale.
Okay, so he gets owned by the Bucky. Unlucky.
C'est là finalement. Mais
Faire la
là...
D. Jouer, etc. Et le mec qui a le moins d'IM, ça m'a dit rallye, frère.
Étonnant.
So he keeps getting scanned by this KO knife, which is making his utility kind of useless.
Il a raison, frère. À quoi bon? Ah, je te dis, il a 3 smokes de 20 secondes là. T'inquiète pas qu'il va bien les renouveler. Hein.
Héros, je vois rallye là.
Là, je te dis.
C'est terrible à dire, mais là, la position accroupie, la smoke qui repart à la fin de la smoke sur l'iPad.
Là, regarde, dans 8 secondes très exactement, il y a une autre smoke qui repart, mon frère. Tu le vois là.
Là, il est sur son iPad, là, il l'envoie tout de suite. Et hop là.
Allez, viens. Viens.
Okay,
S'en bat les couilles, c'est worse. La tête de.
Did I hear rumors about Patman? Yeah. Can't we combine Interceptor and Trip to counter Shock Dart, or am I wasting too much util doing this? What do you mean?
Il leur fait perdre 1 minute.
Yes!
Plus moins 2. Magnifique.
Lewen aussi, il a pris un kill.
Where does this... Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. So he's here, teleport, take 1 step, teleport. Not too bad.
Et là, ils sont cooked. 4v2.
Protect the
J'ai
trip,
entendu
you can
beaucoup de bruit
activate Interceptor.
du coup, c'est en mode. Ça a provoqué beaucoup de rotation.
You're talking about like on defense? Yeah. I mean, I think that's fine. I think that's definitely decent. A lot of times I feel like you probably will end up with a setup. I don't know, I keep clicking on this. Let's say talking about like Sunset. I think a lot of times you probably will end up with a setup that's something like chokehold for the choke point, right? Something like this. If teams know that you're doing this, they will come up with a shock dart lineup that breaks this. If you know that they're shock dart lineuping your trip, then yeah, you can just put your interceptor like above the door, And so that when they do the shock dart, you can probably play like, honestly, you'll probably play something kind of like this as your first line. I guess you could maybe do this, take this initial line, teleport out, and then have like secondary teleport over here. And so you hear you see the shock dart coming, you activate the interceptor, you take this initial fight, you fall back, teleport, and then you're on this line again. And if they come to try and break your trip, then you can kill them. So yeah, I think a lot of times you will see the interceptor and the trip doubled up in the choke. At least if you're trying to hold space with the veto, like if you're trying to anchor the site. Interceptor breaks every single projectile. So stuff that might not seem like projectiles but would be like salvos get eaten by the interceptor. Viper's orb while flying gets eaten by the interceptor. I actually don't know. Has anybody tested the wall? I don't know why this would ever be relevant, but technically I think the wall is a projectile. Can you eat the Viper wall? Does anybody know? Because like the Viper wall is technically a bunch of projectiles that flies across the map. So is it possible to eat the Viper wall with Interceptor? Anybody test that for me? Again, Viper wall is like always pre-placed, so it probably is not relevant. But I'm just curious. It cannot. Okay, interesting.
Suigetsu, il les tue les deux tout seul. Vous pouvez rester en B, les gars.
30 seconds left.
Il va juste accepter la retake et attendre
Ouais, je pense aussi.
le comeback. Hein. Et la reveal.
Neon wall is also
Il se
projectile.
repositionne. Parce que s'il reveal elbow, il sait qu'il n'y a rien elbow et du coup il peut regarder qu'à droite. Il est intelligent ce. Eh, t'es trop con, frère. Eh, t'es trop con, frère.
Je sais pas où il a visé, frère.
Spike planted.
Du coup, il a pas attendu la
Yeah, it eats way less slow, obviously.
retake et il a pas visé au bon endroit. Moi, j'aurais été
Happy
pédant
for
aussi,
Breeze to
derrière
be
le truc
coming
là-bas.
back. Yeah,
Nice,
I
Harbor.
mean, like I keep saying, I don't mind any of the maps. I've never been a hater of any of the maps or really any of the content that Riot's put into the game. There's stuff I like a little bit less than others, this map being one of them, but I don't hate anything and I'm happy to play anything.
Ouais. Oh, il y a turn en plus. Allez, faut le tuer, les gars. Faut gagner ce duel. Shadow 1v1. Thomas. Ça va plus grave. Non,
Mais
hors
le
Suigetsu.
truc discipliné, bah, le truc discipliné, c'est 4v2, frère.
Okay, we're just seeing the same setup over and over from Suigetsu, which I don't love. Seems pretty boring. Okay, now we're seeing something a little different. So he's got the teleport up top to ticket. He's going to walk down here to this corner. He's got the trip from middle. At least something a little bit different.
Et bon, il y a 8-8. Bon, là, on est en écho.
I believe they will change the map significantly if they're going to bring it back.
Le lecteur YouTube, il commence à me rendre dingue.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you guys something. New Harbor is much better than Old Harbor. Stop letting all these propagandists tell you that, oh, the Cascades, wah. New Harbor is much better than Old Harbor. And anybody who thinks differently is wrong.
Commence à me rendre dingue, frérot. Simon Dark.
Ouais. Il search top mid. Il entend le trap close à lui.
Il envoie, il fait du boucan ce trap. Hein.
Ouais. Ah, t'es close. Hein.
Attention à Outlaw, la flash. Oui,
On
Shadow,
rafale,
il a
oui,
récupéré.
Shadow.
Shadow, le deuxième.
Spike
Peut-être le
down.
3.
Shadows qui envoie. Le strict.
Tant mieux. Ils ont mal géré leur argent. Ok, ça bombarde. Ça bombarde. Lewen qui va se faire déborder là.
Okay, this is interesting. So this was like a very busy setup for Suigetsu. He came over here, put the interceptor B, put his trip here, and now he's playing over towards A. Do I think Astra would be better than Omen on Sunset with the one-way timings being a lot worse? So the thing about, I'm just gonna say no. I think this is one of Omen's best maps for a variety of different reasons. Astra is always going to be better on maps where you desperately need a pullback star as part of your default, or they're very wide and you need to be able to instantly utility both sides of the map. So like, I think that this map is pretty compact. It's pretty fight heavy early, which I think benefits an Omen, and also the verticality really benefits Omen. Being able to teleport from one side of mid to the other side of mid to get across safely is really good. I think this is definitely one of Omen's better maps. Dude, you guys got to stop thinking about Harbor as a Viper contender. Harbor is not a Viper contender. Stop thinking like this. There's never, ever... Okay. This is really fucking pissing me off. Harbor is not a Viper contender. Harbor was never a Viper contender. Harbor will never be a Viper contender. Stop thinking about Harbor as a Viper. No agent will ever compete with Viper. Viper is a completely different agent than you will ever see in this game again. Like, there is no other agent in the game that has a fucking wall smoke on command and an orb on command. And there never will be another agent like this. Harbor is not a Viper contender. I don't know how many fucking times I need to say this. It's really, really fucking, like, it's completely the wrong way to think about this agent. Homeless ex-coach. I live in my house, actually. Doesn't get signed, starts making cringy YouTube videos. I actually was a YouTuber for 8 years before I became a coach. So, bye. See you later. Okay. Let me just explain how Harbor works. This is a Veto stream, but let me just explain how Harbor works. Harbor is essentially your standard Omen type smoke. Okay? This is your main ability. Boom. But you have the ability to, at will, randomly have a Viper wall for 15 seconds. Okay? So that's how you need to think about this agent. It's not a Viper. Viper is completely different. Viper's toxic screen is a tool to basically reshape how the map works, right? So if you put this here as an example, the wall changes the geometry of the entire map. Okay? No other agent can do this, and Harbor was not able to do this either. Harbor is an agent that has the ability to do essentially Omen stuff and Brimstone stuff at the same time. Okay? So you can have your default smokes, like an Omen, and then if you need an instant smoke coverage for a large area, then you have your Brimstone utility. Okay? Let's go to Bind, actually. This is a great example. So one of the things that Brimstone can do is you can say, I'm hitting A now. And you go, smoke, 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 right? 3 smokes. Or I'm hitting A now. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Okay, so if you are Harbor and you're hitting A now, you can now do this with your wall. Right? Smoke, smoke, smoke. Right? So Harbor gives you the option that Brim gives you as far as your exec smokes, but also gives you the option that Omen gives you with the default smokes across the map. That is what Harbor does. Harbor is not Viper. Stop thinking about Harbor as Viper. That's the complete wrong way to think about this agent. Can you tell me which map Viper's good to play on? Every map.
Tant mieux.
Viper's good on every
Ils ont
map
mal
in the
géré leur
game.
argent. Ok, ça bombarde. Ça bombarde. Les
All right, back to Veto. No more Harbor
Et il
rage
s'en
baiting.
fout, hein. Sugetsu, il va pas être stun, il en a rien à foutre.
Il a son ulti.
Sugetsu, c'est vraiment le mec qui peut rester au milieu de la map, il en a rien à foutre.
C'est pour ça, le perso il est fait pour lui. C'est dommage, je peux pas tirer sur le chapeau.
Plus.
Jax, son ulti est pas dingue.
Ah, dommage, il a un HP pas assez trade par rallye.
Bien joué. On va save ou quoi?
Non. 2v3.
Okay. So it's kind of interesting that they've been doing a bit of util splitting, which I think is definitely good with Veto. They're kind of giving... Sometimes they're giving the B site the interceptor while Veto plays A, which I think is definitely a solid thing to do. Like, help out your agent that might need a little bit of extra help or anti-utility to play anchor, but then you don't actually have to play there. But obviously that requires good communication. Hey, interceptor now. Otherwise, you get no value from it.
C'est pas le Aves d'hier, pas grave. Simonda. Il met énormément de pression lui avec sa néon là depuis le début du match.
This is kind of cool. You've got like a double mid aggro hold. Yoru comes down here, takes the initial contact. Veto then fills the space with the teleport out if necessary. I do think that we're going to see a lot of this, and it makes a lot of sense to have the Veto with another agent that has teleport. What I mean right now is I think Viper gives you more value than Harbor does when playing double smoker. That's why I make the comparison to Harbor would be Viper's contender. Okay, yeah. Like, okay, that's maybe my bad if I was overreacting. I thought you were saying that, like, you are trying to, like, fill the position of the toxic screen with Harbor, because that's definitely not the case. But if you're just talking about, like, we've got a default Omen or Brimstone on the comp, and then we want a second smoke, almost always that's going to be a Viper. I think that makes sense. The thing about Viper also is that Viper is still, to this day, the best Sentinel. And when I say Sentinel, I mean site anchor in the game. Viper is still the best site anchor in the game. Basically always has been the best site anchor in the game. And that takes like a huge chunk of the Sentinel role away from the Sentinels.
Bien.
How much time after can you activate the shield once the Harbor smoke is deployed? You can do it for the entire duration of the smoke. And yeah, Zoltax, you're correct. You play Harbor instead of the Omen in a double smoke comp. Or you can play Omen Harbor. I think there's probably some comps where that could work.
Beaucoup pour rien, non?
Ouais.
Ils ont pas de stun, la reveal, ils vont l'avoir dans 25 secondes.
Putain.
Et dis-moi.
C'est-à-dire, en vrai, quand tu lurk avec ce perso, tu peux arriver sous ulti, tu traverses tous les traps.
Non, parce que le trap, en gros, ça dit qu'il y a quelqu'un qui a pris le trap quand même.
Ah, ok.
Tu vois pas le voilac, pardon. Ah, vas-y, la vie elle est injuste, il le casque. La vie elle est injuste.
Elle est tellement injuste, la vie.
Okay, so he gets you pushing aggressively and dies. It's definitely not great. I feel like probably you almost never want the Veto to be your aggro pushing character.
On n'a rien repéré. Sugetsu contre Sunflower. Ok, ça passera pas pour Sunflower, magnifique. On va TP out directement au cas où il se faisait débouler. Faut garder le mid. On a l'information côté Avez. On va reculer, on va la jouer safe. Pas le temps.
I think that Poppy can still play at tier 1. Probably on the right team.
Ah, vraiment setup classique.
I think it's got to be a specific
de leur
team, though.
part. On se fait contact le A. Oh, Belek. Le GGN, mais ça va, Shadows qui va venir aider. C'est trade.
On a une molly. Mais on peut pas cross, hein.
Ulti, hein.
Smoke. Ok, c'est bon, on va attendre la smoke. Là, on sait qu'il y a des balles qui vont fuser. Bah, il va en prendre aussi. Parce que lui, il a une fantôme, attention.
Il a abusé de la presse. Après, on a mis de l'HP, hein.
Un kill, c'était carré.
Ah ouais, je préfère 2 low HP qu'un.
I mean,
Ouais,
Harbor
c'est
Viper used to be a thing
vraiment
anyway,
néon.
so it's probably
je crois,
just
elle est
the
une
same,
balle.
but maybe
Bah, les
even
deux,
better
hein.
now than it was.
Elle est une balle, frérot. Elle a 42 HP, frérot.
Il a vu là, mais ouais, il a entendu là.
Oh,
Regarde hein, où il est le copain.
VAV triple. Ils se mettent tout
I
le
guess
temps.
the last thing that I want to just say about Harbor, like thinking about Breeze, right? Because I think I've heard that Breeze is probably coming back. So like, right, this is like the standard thing that you would do, is like this smoke, whatever, something like this. And then after the smoke is done, then you just harbor wall this like this, right, to refresh. So you can still do the same thing. The main thing about the harbor wall that you need to think about is just like when do I use my high tide, right? Because initially you might have done like high tide for middle, I don't know exactly, maybe like smoke, 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 something like this. And then you can like take space, insert, something like that. And then you would have a secondary high tide to use later on. Now you just need to be more selective with when you use your high tide. Like you need to think about, okay, my high tide is not just 5 smokes at the beginning of the round that I can use at the same time. I now have 1 smoke that I can use at the beginning of the round. So let's smoke, I don't know, something like this so that we can cross. And then if I need a smoke after my default, let's say we've done our wall over here, but obviously there's a lot of angles if you're coming out of B, right? It's really hard to hit B if you don't have all of this smoked, right? So that's why a lot of times you'll see the Viper wall get saved and then it comes out here when teams hit B. But now you've got a harbor. So you can just be like, all right, well, no worries. We can still put our Viper wall A to disguise that we might go A. But then when we want all of this smoked, well, we just come out and we just harbor wall this, right? Boom, cool. So now you have a Viper wall in demand that you can only use 1 time per round, but you have a Viper wall in demand that you can use for your hit that covers, you know, like the 7 smokes that you would need to hit B, but you can still do your Viper wall at A. So that's kind of like the main thing, is just like when you need like 5 smokes at once, Harbor is your guy. Or you could use a Brimstone.
Sur le mec qui doit clutch, en même temps, c'est logique.
Et on a sorti là après. Regarde Rally. Hein. T'es ma Rally.
Don't I feel that losing the amount of layered smokes removed his previous identity on maps like Abyss and Post Plants? I don't totally understand what you're saying.
Il est reparti dans son
Eh
main
oui,
out judge.
frérot.
I feel like his previous identity was shit.
Regarde Rally.
Like, I think Harbor was fine before. I think he was fine. I don't think he necessarily needed like huge changes. I think the Cascades were decent. But like the fact that you had to give away exactly where you were on the map to use any of his utility was shit. Like that part of his kit was terrible. Now you can actually disguise where you are, which is nice. And then if you need a big smoke, you've got the wall.
T'es ma Rally. Il est reparti dans son
Eh
main
oui,
out judge.
frérot. Il va pas bouger de là-bas.
Okay, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty fucking bored of this KC game. They're just doing the same shit over and over and over. Okay, we've already seen how Vitality plays. Find. All right, here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna hop in game real quick, and I will show you some of the stuff that I've cooked up with this agent. Like before, you could layer smokes to solve for a very large time on Abyss. You can still do that. I don't understand why you can't do that. You can still just use your Cove and then Viper Smoke and then your High Tide and then Viper Smoke. You could, like, again, I don't really understand the criticism. Like, you can still basically play him exactly how you could play him before. Can't use high tide on exec. True. Okay, let's start with corrode. So corrode, I'll give you some stuff with veto, and then maybe at the end of this we'll build like an actual veto comp. We'll build an agent comp that I think makes sense.
Salt on the floor, salt on the walls, salt in the air. Let's do this quickly.
Okay.
My ult is ready.
So on attack, veto, a couple things that I think are pretty good. Just talking about some of the ideas that we were talking about before, which is like doing sort of an anti-default, but then quickly repositioning to help your team. So like you can come over here, instantly throw this, right? Throw the teleport, and then you're gonna start at A. You can use the second teleport if you want. You don't have to though. Interceptor over. Oh. Probably want to go. Why is my shit like? Probably up here, so you can break prowlers or whatever. Round starts. I guess you could put a teleport here if you wanted to. Counter their prowler. Come out, take this space. Right? Even potentially come up here, break camera or trip or whatever. Nope, teleport back. And then your team needs you at B because they're going B. You don't really have to worry about checking middle. You just come across like this. I think that's pretty solid. Another thing that you could potentially do, obviously just leave a trip behind you if you're going to do this. Come out here. Got to be really specific with where you place this. Make sure that you're tucked. And honestly, if I was going to do this, like mid-default, I would start with a teleport here, and then my second teleport would come out here. Why is this so clunky, bro? And then if they come re-clear you, you can come out. The other team can hear the TP? Yes. Obviously you can, if teams are like heavy defaulting middle, you can obviously just throw your interceptor out here, eat their utility early. But yeah, I think kind of in general, it's like omen positioning. Like this is something that omens would do sometimes. Come out here, take this space. You can also potentially do this. Start with this teleport here. Or, actually, let's do it even better. Something like this. Where's the line? The line's like right here, yeah? I guess maybe this makes the most sense. So like, wall goes up and you just run up here. Place this in case they util through the Viper wall. And then you just play in this spot. Viper wall is here. They try to re-clear you. Break the prowler. Get out. Join your team. Go B. They have to worry about B because you ran up here. And now you can just come B with your team. On the actual exec, you probably want to teleport here sometimes. Kind of like an omen will. Or you can also... teleport. Fuck. Teleport here. As another spot, but you have to jump to place that one, so keep that in mind. Obviously, if your team is trying to entry, I think throwing your interceptor through here is really valuable, because a lot of times there's a utility here and people will counter util. I mean, where is the best place to throw it? Probably about as high as you can. Either as high as you can or as low as you can, I think is kind of where you want to throw it. But yeah, so like... The targeting with the teleport is very weird. So you can teleport in like that, and then once you're here, if there's a smoke... Bruh. Windowed mode. Where you teleport into the smoke. Basically be Omen. Let's see, what else? What else on attack? So let's say you take this space. You're here. You want to check to see if there's anybody behind here. I think you can just throw... Oh. You can throw your trip behind there to hold this space. And check behind the wall if you want. You can also, if you're worried about people in there, you can throw your trip in there to get more aggressive space and like check for a shotgun behind here. Alright, both of these trips will get you some info that's kind of useful. And if nobody shoots them, then you know the area is clear, which is cool. And then, honestly, like, let's say you first teleported here and you didn't use your second teleport to give yourself a bailout option. And then you throw this this trip over the wall, like I just showed, right? And so you know nobody's there, nobody shoots it. Now you've got the option to just take more space, right? You can come and take this space, and now you're like in some weird spot where the other team, I mean, maybe they can hear you get here, but also you're like pretty deep in enemy territory, which I think is pretty sick. What's up, Maddock? How are you? Question, can you combo your teleport with trap lineups like the TP you showed in middle after you throw the A-Link trap? I don't quite know what you mean. But I do think, like... What's up, Fiddy? How are you? I think another thing that you can potentially do is, like, let's say you're playing A with your team, but you want to have some presence B in case you want to cancel. I'm sure that you could probably find some, like, some lineup that's going to end up, like, here. And then you might have orb control if nobody comes out and breaks this, right? And you can come back to B. Like, I think people really need to start abusing this trip a little bit more. Let's think about Viper in general. Like, Viper wall usually comes like this, right? You go Viper wall across like that. I mean, you could literally just throw a trip on the other side of your wall, right? And then you know if people push through or not. If they don't push through, then you can just come up behind your wall. Obviously, if you've got a Veto teleport like here, you can get really aggressive. You're safe from this angle. You come up here. And you can even just throw your interceptor as like a thing through. Come through, take this space, kill somebody, get out. Entering onto the A site. Come up with your team. Okay, a little bit weird. What am I supposed to do here? Probably not the best teleport. Don't think we want to do that. But definitely you can come through, interceptor with your team. Come through. Again, these teleports are probably shit. This is one area where maybe you want to just be with the pack. Like, give yourself a bailout teleport. Come up here, maybe throw this off the wall like this. For the yard flank watch, or throw this into link, so you've got link information. You come through with your interceptor with your team. If they're fighting you, you gotta fall out. You gotta bail out. You can come re-peek. Otherwise, you can scale with your team, and if you've got this teleport back here like we had before, you can come up and you can control elbow. Right? Control an elbow. Give yourself another angle. Like this. Can Veto make changes to no Senti plus Viper comps? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. But for B main control, you would need... I mean, yeah, probably. Like, it's just kind of one of those things where you can just get kind of, like, weirdly creative with this. Like, maybe, I don't know if there is, but maybe there's some, like, weird lineup where you could land it, like, here. Or, like, here. Oh, my God, stop. And then you could have some sort of, like, rotation info. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing out, like, random ideas. But, yeah. Then, let's talk about defense. So, on defense, a couple of things that I've been trying out. You start at the beginning of the round. You throw one teleport here. You come here. You can throw this either for A main or for here. And then let's say that we want to play for Link. Throw your trip here. Round starts. Come out. Take this line. Right? You can even throw an interceptor like in here to eat prowlers. Peek off of this. I guess this teleport is shit because you're going to be exposed. So maybe you want to come here instead. But same kind of thing. Interceptor here. Eats the prowler. Right? Get out. Or let's say that they are instantly hitting B. Then you can just immediately take this teleport. And then you're here. You can fight middle. But you've already got like half your rotation done. And then you're pretty quickly over here. Another thing that you can do is if you, let's say we're starting towards A. Obviously, I really like doubling teleports. I think doubling teleports is really strong. So basically, like, wherever the range of the last one ends is where you put your second one. So let's just put it like right here. Put this one here. Round starts, throw this in here, come out, take this space. You can get all the way over to here. If they come try to re-clear you, you've got an unwall bangable box to hide behind. I'm here. I guess honestly you should just put this here because it's much better. So yeah. Come take this space. You can even interceptor here if you want. Make it extra annoying. Teleport out. Come take another peek. Teleport out. And then you're over here. Take you another peek. It's just like really, really hard to keep track of where the veto is. Also, I think another thing that people should really start thinking about potentially is... I actually don't remember what the lineup is, to be honest, but I know there is a Viper Orb lineup for both sites. It's something like over here. It's obviously not it, but there is a Viper Orb lineup that lands here. So then you Viper Orb, quote-unquote Viper Orb. It's the same projectile. In case anybody doesn't know, Veto Trip is the same projectile as Viper Orb.
Enemy close.
So just like Trip for A, and then you play B just to split it up. And then yeah, I think for B it's pretty straightforward. Like interceptor above the door, like unbreakable essentially unless they're already out on site like this, which is terrible for them. And then you have like a double layer teleport potentially, so you could do like one here, come out, get on this box, right? Take this. This is a little bit sketchy though, just because to like teleport, you're probably getting exposed and killed a lot of the time. So you might actually want to do it like somewhere a bit safer, but then have maybe more aggressive support to get you on this line here. And then if you need to get out, obviously, I mean, that teleport is pretty dog shit. So I'd probably never do that one, to be honest. But maybe something a bit more like this is better. Let's just put a teleport up there. And then you take this first line. You've got your interceptor here. So they prowler. Oh. They prowler. You eat the prowler. You take your peek. You tuck. You double teleport. Now you're heaven. Take another peek.
Watcher expire.
And then this was something that I had to figure out. So you can... This type of trip is really good because obviously there's no like shock dart that's going to break this. But you have to be very careful with this because this is 7 meters. So this will not catch anybody if they're here. This is too far away. The only time that this will catch people is if they're this close. And so the detection radius into not being useful is really, really close. So this is not going to catch very many people. So you have to make sure that you're placing your trip, if you're going to place it up high, in spots where the detection radius is like enough to like catch multiple people as they come through. Is this like another waylay situation where teams don't really realize Veto's main value? I think some people are like kind of on to the right track with Veto, but there's definitely a lot of people that don't understand how he works. Another thing that you can do that I've tried that I think is like kind of trolling, but also maybe good is this. Where you instantly cross here, and then the only problem with putting it this low is that you might not one-shot kill them. So you actually need to put it up here. And then you got to cross and basically like instantly teleport, but you still are going to get traded a decent amount of the time. So stuff like that is like maybe decent. It's kind of like one of the only times that you can really use the trip kind of like a chamber, or the teleport kind of like a chamber. But yeah, I think another thing that you should always just consider with Veto is just like cutting your rotation in half. So you come out of spawn, you throw your trip here, you run all the way over here, you use your second trip or your second teleport just like a regular teleport. Again, get out, and then you need to like get halfway through your rotation. You get over here kind of like this. It's not super great on this map to do that. I think on this map you're almost always better off doing like a double teleport setup. But another thing I guess you can also do is like come down in here, right? Contest this space. Being able to tuck here and get out is pretty good. You can also like, as you're coming through here, if you have control of this area, like let's say you smoke this off, you can come through, throw a teleport there, contest this space, and then if they're pushing you, you can quickly reposition to a safer position. You can actually still... Ooh. Really? I can't... On the minimap, it looks like it's close enough. Huh. Guess it has to be here. But yeah, basically, I think on defense, like one of the big things that you can do is just kind of like skip the dangerous rotations. So actually, let's go to Abyss, because that's where a lot of teams have been using him. A lot of teams have been using him on Abyss. I think Abyss is one of his better maps for sure. And I'll give you some of the sauce that I've been using on Abyss. Exactly. The teleport is too slow to use it like a chamber teleport. That's like the most important thing is you can't play him like chamber, right? The only way that you can actually like play him like chamber is if you have something that tuck behind to get value out of his teleport. So like Chronicle was doing this a lot, right? He was using this and he was coming out here and he was just taking like these angles, right? Now, if you're a chamber, you just come stand out here in the open, right? And you play some like kind of weird off angle. As Veto, you need to be closer to a wall, right? You got to be like on a wall so you can tuck and then teleport. Or you need to cross all the way over here and then play this spot so you can quickly tuck and teleport. It's basically just like an anti-tradable thing. But you also have to have cover to use it. Because if you think that any pro is going to be able to do this... be in the middle of nowhere like this, shoot somebody, jump, jump, turn their back to other people that are trying to shoot them, and then teleport and not die. Like, this will never happen in a pro game. I can almost guarantee you that will never happen. And this is like one of the reasons why I think that using him like this is like, it's like, okay, right? You come out here, you help your team default, throw this to counter their util. They smoke this off, you come over here, you take this position. This is okay, because at least you have pressure and control here. But if you're trying to like come out and just use this like a chamber where you run out, take your first shot, and then try and get out, like, no fucking chance. No chance. Let's see if this is something that we can do. Nope. I was wondering if you could do the Omen play where you jump off the map. If you could somehow pre-place this, then sure. But I don't think you're gonna have enough time to activate it. Nope. Doesn't activate fast enough. But one thing I did see who was doing this that I think is good is smoke in the middle of the site and then use this like an Omen teleport where you like double entry with your Omen or your Astra or whoever, double dash into the smoke. I think that's pretty good. It was T1 that was doing this, I think. So will Veto work with double senti comp because he certainly can't be used as single senti? He can be used as a single. He can be used as a single senti. Like, for sure, he can be used as a single senti, especially in the current meta, where a lot of teams are going to run no senti. So yeah, he can definitely be used as a single senti, 100%. But yeah, okay. So on attack, some of the stuff that we saw that I think was okay was like the anti-default utility, right? If you want to hit A, teleport up here. As you hit the site, come up here, peek into the back site. You know, maybe give your team a secondary entry character potentially. For A site, that's kind of like what you're gonna do, generally speaking. So this was some of the stuff I was talking about with like your trip. Like I don't know if this would ever be good. Probably not. But you could throw your trip in middle, potentially, just to get info about rotations, right? Totally want to throw a little bit deeper, like that. Like, I don't know if this is ever good to do, but you could do that. You can also come out here. I think that this is probably pretty good. Break the door. If you're playing over here, you can get this trip far enough in where you can just teleport across middle into vents. So this is pretty good. Like, let's say you start on B. Start on B, you come up here with your team. Obviously, you don't know if they've broken their vent, maybe, so maybe this is not good. You can trip vents. I think that's fine. Oh, that's a bad teleport. Gotta be the deeper one. Otherwise, you're just dead. I think that's fine. On the B side of the map, we've seen... obviously like the anti-push teleport. You probably don't need this teleport like Chronicle did, to be honest. You can just play up here and then fall off, and if they chase you, you kill them. But yeah, if you're hitting B, I think you gotta start with this. I think this is a very good trip. Gives you very early warning on if they're flanking you from behind. I think using this to cross is really strong too, because then you can get, you know, multiple angles on your double swing into B main. So I would definitely use this potentially to cross. Peek out. You can also, if you have control of this area, you can get into sight and entry, which I think is pretty sick. Basically, like anywhere you can tuck the teleport, where it's safe to teleport, kind of like an Omen teleport again, I think is really good. You know, like your team clears this out, you know it's safe. All right, get across. You don't have to expose yourself to anything. I think that's also really good. And then if you have a second teleport, you just put it as like a fallback plan. Take your peek, fall out. It's good. Also, just coming out here with your interceptor is pretty strong. Just because there is going to be like flashes and stuff flying out here. You know, maybe on the old Abyss you could teleport to default. I don't think you want to do it now, probably, because you're just in the open. But okay, let's see, how close can you get? Maybe you can do that. That's not too bad. Pretty far range. Obviously you can teleport into heaven, which is decent. What else? I guess as you're execing, it might be good to have a trip that lands in heaven, which you can definitely find a lineup for. From back here, there's probably a trip that lands in garden too, to be honest. I don't know what it would be exactly, but certainly something that lands like right here would be good, just for info even. Bro, you don't even need to find veto lineups. It's just the Viper Orb. It's just the Viper Orb. Obviously you can do stuff kind of like Chamber, where you come up, you put your trip here, or your teleport here, you come out, you take this space, you're annoying, you get out to safety. But again, I genuinely don't like people playing him like Chamber. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's particularly good. Okay, let's go to defense. Again, I think the attack side is like fairly straightforward. Like sometimes I would say maybe like 20% of the time you should be lurking on Veto, and like maybe 80% of the time you should be with the pack. But okay, so defense stuff.
Let's go pick it up.
Defense stuff, I'll just show you this is possible. So you spawn in, right? You've got a little bit of time, throw your teleport, come in here, throw your teleport here, take this one back, recall, run over here. Oh, that teleport A is shit, actually. Come up to heaven, throw your teleport here, throw your trip wherever you want it, play like that, throw this under here, and then you play. Boom, boom, boom. Eat their stuff. Okay, they're going to A site, teleport across. You don't have to expose yourself to somebody lurking. And then you can actually put this in a better spot where you can teleport from here, so you don't have to be exposed to middle. But you get the general idea. Cross middle, and now you're at A site. I think this is extremely strong. Also then on A site, I think doing stuff like this. Again, there's a couple setups kind of like the judge setup that I showed on Sunset. Put a teleport like this. Come across. play here. Again, with your... it's a little bit fucked. You can get it exactly correct, probably, where like your crosshair is in the right spot. And then you just instantly teleport, but you're probably getting traded a lot of the time, and you definitely want to double teleport this if you're going to do it. Also, I think probably doing stuff like coming across here. You know, you take this line, teleport across. Oh, that's a shit teleport. Be behind them. Ooh, the hell? Why is there a barrier there? Hello? Bro, right. Why is your game so clunky sometimes? Hello? Obviously, I can place it further than this. What is this, bro? Anyway. That's very strange. Also, you can obviously do like the chamber stuff here. I think everybody was probably immediately going to look at things like this. Come down, take this space. This is nice. If your teammates break this for you, then you can teleport into there. Crosshair hits the wall. Oh, is that what it is? Ah. It was based off your crosshair. I see. Lineup guy would know that. I see. Also, obviously, you can do shit like this. Oh. Fail the jump like that. But, unlike chamber, if you fail the jump, then you can still survive. No! Anyway. Yeah. It's definitely a bit of a clunky agent for sure. But, okay, so one thing that I was definitely trying out early on is I was like, man, it'd be sick if I could have some, like, trips like this. But the problem is, again, okay, so this trip will work, but only within, like, this tiny little area. Because as soon as they get 7 meters away, like right here, this will no longer catch them. Okay? So you got to keep that in mind. If you are over 7 meters, if you're over 6 meters away, this will not catch them. But probably a situation like this, maybe this would work, actually. So, oh. Nope, that's too high. Gotta be right on this really... What the fuck? Bruh. Yeah, there we go. I don't know why this is so inconsistent. Anyway, it's got to be in the lower portion. You can also probably get it stuck in these little spots, I would imagine. What? You can't? Okay, so you definitely can. There's just a barrier that's blocking this? No. Okay, so you can't actually get it in there because there's like a weird barrier on the wall unless you're inside the wall. But yeah, something like this would work. But again, if they're over here,
There.
not going to catch them. So it's only going to catch them if they're in the middle of the doorway. So this type of lineup is probably not going to be that good. And yeah, that's one of the main problems with like the trips at A site is like basically your best trip is going to be here. It's going to get shot guarded a lot unless you use an interceptor for it. And so you're probably going to want to end up doing, you know, like most of your veto value is going to be like this jump. What is right here? I did a lineup like this because Darion was too afraid to do this jump, so I had to find him a lineup. There we go. Come up, take this space, teleport out, teleport out. Stuff like that. Double teleport, good. Yeah, it's true. What else is there? Again, I guess one of the things that I'm still just a big fan of is like pre-round setups that give you a fast rotate. So like you start in spawn, you place this trip, you come over, you play A, and then instead of having to worry about crossing middle, you just come cross middle with no consequences, basically. And then you're over here. Okay. But what... I'll also give you... I'll give you one more map. One more map that I think is actually pretty good is Haven. And the reason I think Haven is pretty good is we'll go over attack first, and then we'll go over defense. Lineup for parkour. I mean, hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Bind Veto, yeah, bind is definitely good. Veto is definitely good on bind, for sure. Okay, so Haven attack, I think, is kind of an interesting problem to solve. I think you've got a few different options. Option number one, you can just play like anti-push C, maybe throw your interceptor to break a Sova dart if they're darting down long. You could also just like play up here like you're an Omen. I think you can potentially come out here and take this space. And then if you hear Killjoy utility in here, instead of risking your body to break the Killjoy utility, you just interceptor to break the Killjoy utility. If they shoot it, obviously, then you know Killjoy's in here, and maybe you can combo off of that and like fight them. Another thing that you can do is like Omen. Again, just have a teleport here. Start of round, just teleport like you would an Omen. Right? And then if they come re-clear you, you get out. You can do kind of a similar thing coming across from here. Obviously, just throw your teleport there. You're not really at risk to anything. As long as you have a teleport out, you're good to go. So like mid default with Veto, I think is pretty good here. Let's say we're going to A. Again, thinking about him kind of like an Omen. Right? You can get out long. And obviously you could have a second teleport if you need to escape. Now, I don't think you can really do like the aggressive Omen teleport. I feel like this is probably too slow. You're going to get caught a lot of the time. But you could do that, I suppose. Instead, most likely what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to like trip this. And then you can come out long. And then if they come try to push you short, then your trip gets them. As far as like getting into the A site, you know, you can use this to entry kind of. It's not great, but if you have a teleport, you can kind of help your team entry. But more than likely what you're going to end up doing is you're just going to come out with your interceptor with your team, right? You scale out and you're like, wait, I have an opportunity. Oh my god, the windowed mode is killing me right now. But yeah, I've got an opportunity, just like an Omen. Again, take heaven. Right. I think that's pretty solid. Also, of course, you can lurk on this character always. I think it's always a possibility. You can scale out, maybe behind a Viper wall or something like that. Come here, take this space. You can get very, very deep on A, which is kind of cool. Like, clear all of this. Come up here, clear all of this. Right? You can even get out into Cabbage. And you can still escape, which I think is pretty sick. The teleport range is really, really big. Veto teleport to double box on A lobby would be a good flank watch, or insert if team is pressure B or C. Can you actually place this from barrier? Yep. Not bad. Okay, other things that you can do. You can get not quite all the way into Rabbit, but you can get pretty close. You could teleport aggressive if you wanted to and still have a teleport back to safety. So if you wanted to be an aggressive lurk, that's not a great teleport. If this gets smoked off and you desperately need somebody to entry for your team, you can Omen teleport like this. Again, it's trash, but sometimes you have to do weird things to win rounds. Obviously, you can teleport into window as well if it's smoked. So this teleport is kind of sick. But I definitely think one of the big things that you're going to want to do is you're just going to want an anti-sentinel utility entry for your team with your eye, basically. Or, again, like, coming out C.
Watcher expired.
You just eat the sentinel utility. And then, at least on this one, you can, like, get into default with your teleport, which is nice. You can't even go top if you have like a smoke. Wait. Okay. I thought I just teleported behind the box, which would have been insane. But yeah. Obviously, if you have a smoke for top site, you can go in there. It's the slowest double teleport of all time, so you probably will never do this. But just looking for opportunities to get a little bit of extra value. I think the biggest thing for me is like, the way that I think about agents and putting them into a comp is I try to make like comparisons to some extent to like what they can do. So let's say that you really want an agent that has verticality. You can consider Veto. You really want an agent that has the ability to lurk. Okay, you can consider a Veto. But you also desperately want anti-utility, right? So then you have Veto. But to put Veto in your team, you're going to have to lose something, right? So maybe to make a Veto comp, you really think that you need Astra, but you also want verticality on a map. Okay, well, in that case, maybe instead of playing the Omen that you think for the verticality, you can play the Astra, but then instead you can play the Veto for your verticality agent, right? And you can still find like some value from like the Omen teleports that Veto has. But yeah, let me talk about defense real quick. So I think Veto is pretty sick on defense actually on this map. Let me see if I can remember this lineup correctly. Yeah, so this lineup is really sick actually, because this one 7 meters right here. So this is like, you can't break this, right? You literally can't break this. And the only way to break it is to come out and shoot it like this, at which point it will catch you. Because this is only 6 meters, right? So if you try and sneak by this, as soon as you get here, I guess maybe you could slowly sneak by this, but it will pop at 7. It just won't catch you at 7. But you're gonna come through this door a lot of the time, just like, oh shit, okay, boom, 6 meters. This catches you. You're stuck in the door. It sucks. So I'll just show that one more time. All right, really, really good trip. You can throw at the start of the round, and then play towards B maybe. Like, this is something that I think is kind of sick to do. You start in garage, throw your lineup, instantly teleport, and now you're playing here. And then you can even just like be like this. They come garage. Oh well, if they come hit you here, you might be able to get one and teleport out, or just teleport out if they're dumping utility. Also, if you're playing up here, obviously interceptor up here is like really, really hard for teams to deal with. And then if you do need to cross middle, you can do it fairly safely. I guess you would just teleport up to here maybe. And then it's really hard for them to break this interceptor. You have to come out and look up. You might even want to just put it like over here, to be honest. Make it even harder for them to break. But then another thing I think is really good is put a teleport like this. One teleport there. And then your second teleport can be, let's see. I guess it would be like maybe here, or in garage is another good spot. This teleport, you come over here, you play plat, right? Play plat, fall off, then you can shoot over the top of the box, and then you can reposition to garage, help your teammate fight garage, or quickly rotate. So that's pretty strong. Also, I guess you could technically do it. Could do like some crazy repositioning shit like this, where maybe you want your lineup in garage. You come through your lineup, and then you double teleport over to plat, and then you're playing plat. It's probably not the best use of your teleports, but you can do that. Again, I think the fast rotation stuff of being able to skip a dangerous place on the map is really, really strong. So let's say we are playing towards plat, and we want to be able to get to A quickly. So pre-round, you're just going to set this up. Do it here, actually. Pre-round. Throw that. You start towards plat. It's a pretty wide map, so being able to rotate quickly is good. Teleport once. You don't have to expose yourself to long. Come across here. Don't have to expose yourself to middle. And then you're all the way across to A. Pretty good. Another thing you can do is like one teleport here, one teleport in heaven, and then start of the round, you know, interceptor across the way, come out, break their dart, take first contact. Oh, they push you off the line. Oh no. Okay, take contact short. Oh no, they push you off the line. Now you're heaven. Like this double, triple layered fallback plan with Veto, I think is one of like the strongest things that you can be doing on defense. It's just super, super annoying to deal with because like you have to spend utility to get him off these lines, especially if you have like a tuck spot, right? Because like if you cross here, right, you're not getting him off this line unless you invest a bunch of utility because he can just play here. He can peek you whenever he wants. You have to use utility, in which case he's over here. And now, again, he's just being annoying. He's being super annoying. There's also a lineup here that I think is maybe good. Let's see if I can do it correctly. This one is very finicky. There we go. Oh my god. It's kind of inconsistent. There's got to be a better one that's less annoying. But regardless, you get the point. Up here, again, 6 meters, you're good to go. They have to come out here and like look up to break this. So it might not be the best, to be honest. You might even be better off trying to get it stuck in like the boxes over here, which I assume you can do. Somewhere on like this weird geometry. Maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway. You get the point with that. But yeah, I think his A hold is really strong. Obviously, you can do the chamber shit. And honestly, like, if you put one there and then you throw a teleport across, like... Oh. Maybe not like that. Okay. Maybe you just cross normally. But you've got your fallback plan, right? So you come out here, you take this. They use utility, they drone you off. You're out, but then you could also have... I mean, you could put this teleport anywhere, honestly. You could do the fallback chamber trip. Again, kind of like on the other side of the map to look over the smoke here. And then also, like, another thing is, I would say you want to, like... I think you want to lean into the chamber type of play when you have your ult. Right? Because if you have a teleport like this, and you get on this line, and you're ulted... It's like, what do they do? Oh, no, they prowlered me. Oh, no, they droned me. Oh, no, they flashed me. Okay, well, I have an op, so good luck, right? And then you just take your shot, get out, and it's all good. So, okay, let's get out of here, and let's quickly just make a comp. What map? What map should we do, chat? What map should we do? Should we do... Let's do one that people haven't really played much of. Let's do like a... I mean, I feel like Split is pretty... Pearl? I feel like a lot of people are going to play Veto on Pearl. But sure. Since it was the first request, let's do Pearl. Okay, so what are people normally playing on this map? There's going to be probably a lot of like Fade, Yoru. What Sentinel are people playing? People will probably play either Vice, even though it's way worse, or Killjoy. Astra for sure. And then the secondary spot after the Sentinel is either going to another Sentinel in a lot of cases, or it's going to like, what, a KO or a Teo maybe? I feel like we might see a decent amount of this comp on this map. Yeah, we also might see some just double duelist, no Senti. Well, let's just for safety's sake, let's just say this is like the default comp for this map. So how can we play something that has all of our bases covered kind of like this with a Teo or with a Veto in it? Let's see. What does Veto do well on attack on Pearl? I would say he's probably going to be decent at doing like the long stuff. Obviously, you can teleport to ramp to be here safe, and then you can have a bailout teleport if you want. You can also do like anti-fight stuff here and play with the pack. I think that's also a decent option. You can certainly walk out middle. I think walking out middle, getting into like this spot, you know, tripping this at the beginning of the round, maybe, or even potentially exploring this. Like, I think one thing that Veto probably enables a bit more than others is like you can kind of like split default fairly easily with him. And a lot of teams will probably like, if you give him like one piece of support, so maybe like a fade prowler up in the middle, then you can get pretty aggressive with the Veto. You know, get him into a spot like this with a teleport out, with an interceptor to fight against the reclear, make them burn utility, boom, teleport out to your team or just to safety. I think also yeah, I think on this map maybe more so than others, I think like the trip lineups are going to be really good just because the map is super wide and I feel like a lot of teams are not flanking through spawn because it's too long. And so it's a pretty good opportunity to like maybe you start here and then you like throw a chokehold like into here or into here, and then you go play B, or you know, honestly, you can even just start here, throw this through the window and chokehold onto like the box or something like that, and then you know if they're pushing up art. But yeah, let's see. So defense I think is fairly straightforward, right? You can always find value with Veto on defense, whether it's going to be like chamber style, get aggressive with a bailout teleport, or anti-util. I mean, I think anti-util at B is going to be a fucking nightmare, right? You can literally just put this behind the pillar at the beginning of the round, and it will just eat drones and prowlers and darts and stuff like that. You can mix up where you put this as well. Like you could literally do stuff like this where you come out, you literally insta run here, you put your interceptor here, you teleport out, and then if they ever come to, and like you could come spot here, and if they ever come to reclear this, you just interceptor them, and then they have to worry about clearing these angles. Well, you can just like take shots from here or whatever. Again, I think the double teleport stuff for Veto is going to be really strong on this map. You know, maybe one for backside and a second one for heaven potentially, or also just to like make your rotation shorter, stuff like this. Boom, boom, get over here quickly. But probably stuff like this is going to be even better. Like you play this annoying spot with like a judge, teleport out. You're in back hall with a judge. Boom, teleport out, drop down, whatever. But let's think about like an actual comp. Okay, so Sentinel, let's play with a Veto. For smoke, I mean, I think the best smoker still is Astra. And I mean, Astra is going to help Veto immensely with like the pullback stars and stuff like that, being able to get out on B on attack, being able to take small little timings to take space. So we'll go Veto Astra. I think with a Veto on your team, you probably need to focus more on dive potential to actually get into the site if you think that you need a dive agent. And so, you know, I think probably you're going to want either, I guess there's like two different directions you can go. So if you want your veto with the pack using interceptor to come through a choke point, like let's say we are coming through A and we're throwing our interceptor to help against like anti-util, you're going to want to protect this with a flash. So either you're going to want like a Yoru to flash interceptor through a smoke, or you're going to want a KO to flash interceptor through the smoke, or you're going to want a Sky to flash interceptor through a smoke, something like that. I think pairing Veto with a flash is going to be very good. And then you obviously want somebody to help you entry, because Veto is not really going to help you entry very much. So you need a strong entry character. So all of this kind of like pairs fairly well with, you know, like a Neon, a Waylay, or, you know, even something like a Jet. I think you probably could do some sort of like, if we wanted to get real crazy, I'll give you a really crazy one actually. This will be a fun comp. Let's go Astra as smoke. Let's play the Viper on this map. Let's play the Veto. And then we need, let's play the Phoenix. And what's our last agent? What is our last agent? Maybe we can't do this with double smokes. I want to play the Viper and Veto together. Okay, if we're going to play the Viper and Veto together, I think we need to go Yoru. Or maybe we go Waylay. But Yoru is so good on this map. Waylay Sky, maybe something like this. Maybe we need to get rid of Astra if we're playing the Viper. Because we don't need, if we're playing double smokes, we don't actually need Astra to go cross map. We could play a different smokes, like an Omen or a Harbor even. Having no flash is going to suck with Waylay. Yeah, I think that's why you play like the Sky. So you've got a drone and a flash to help the Waylay in. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that, maybe. Oh, shit. And then what would your default be? What you've got? I don't even know what is the good Viper wall these days on this map. It used to be something like this, right? But I don't know if it's good anymore on this map with the new changes. Maybe you don't play the Viper. Viper, Harbor, Pearl, yeah. Viper, Harbor, Pearl, Sky. And then your Veto kind of does nothing on attack. I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. All right, guys. I'm going to take off. I need to go eat some lunch. I'm super hungry right now. But thank you for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed the discussion a little bit. Let me know what you think. But I will see you guys next time. I'm not totally sure when that's going to be. I'm going to be recording my my APAC teams thing, and that'll come out in a couple of days. But yeah, I will see you guys soon. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you.